plaster must have been left to dry for about 3 months to a neutral pH value before you can begin painting on it. The final result with white plaster paint gives a beautiful matte to semi-matte finish. Before you begin, make sure that you have everything you need. White ready diluted plaster paint, mixing stick for stirring the paint, suitable brushes, cloth for wiping the brushes and hands, soap for washing the brushes and hands. Before you begin painting, we recommend that you first read the application instructions and tips included in our brochure and on our website. Estimated rate of distribution per coat on untreated plaster is 5 to 10 square metres per litre of paint. The drying time of the paint is 2 to 3 days under normal drying conditions. The optimal temperature to apply the paint is between 5 and 25 degrees Celsius. Make sure there is good ventilation in the room you're painting in, especially for drying. White plaster paint contains balsam turpentine, therefore it is advisable to use a paint mask if you're painting large areas indoors. Make sure that the plaster is dry and has a neutral pH value. The easiest way to open a paint pot is to place a foot firmly on it and then remove the lid using a putty knife and mallet. An undamaged lid is easy to put on again and will tightly seal the contents. Stir the paint using a stick so that it becomes completely homogeneous. Wipe the mixing stick with the brush. Avoid dipping the brush too deeply so that you get too much paint on it. This can result in an uneven finish. White plaster paint is quite thin and linseed oil paint covers well. Therefore, not so much paint is required in order to achieve a good finish. We're using a large robust facade brush because it is a large flat surface that we're going to paint. Paint using a criss-cross technique so that the paint fills all the crevices and unevenness of the plaster surface. Apply the paint again and smooth out the paint using long strokes. Make sure that the paint is close to you to minimise any spillage on the floor. When the first coat has been applied, place the brush in raw linseed oil so that it doesn't dry and can be easily cleaned before the next application. Wipe off all excess oil before using it again. Use a cloth for wiping it. Always stir the paint before applying it. A further coat can be applied as soon as the first coat is completely dry, after about 2 days. Paint using the same technique and use the light to help you determine whether you have applied the paint evenly over the entire surface. Finish with long, smooth brush strokes with a light hand. It is important that you rinse the cloth in water before throwing it away to prevent spontaneous combustion. Wash the brushes in soap and water. It is a good investment to look after your brushes as a good brush is expensive. A second-hand, well-maintained brush is also better to work with than one that is brand new. If you intend to continue painting in a few days using the same paint, it is not necessary to wash the brushes, but just let them remain in raw linseed oil so that the paint doesn't dry. This is a method that is suitable for facades and also interiors such as brick-built fireplaces. Plaster paint can also be ordered in other colours, and the technique for applying it is just the same.